Hello everyone, my name is R.V.Siddardha from London Institute of Engineering Technology, currently pursuing BTech third year CSE. And as a part of our Elcslab activity, I have chosen Mr. G.Hemanth Kumar for the case study. And G.Hemanth Kumar is an aspiring full stack developer, and he is an intern at BrainMesh and recently got selected to the Hexaware. And he's also an ex-co-lead for the Geeks for Geeks student chapter in London Institute of Engineering and Technology. And hello Hemant, how are you?
Hi Siddharth, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Okay, Mr. G.Hemanth Kumar, can you tell how Elcslab helped you to develop your communication skills when you are at an interview? Awesome.
So ELCS lab mainly focuses on emphasizing our communication skills that we obviously know. So the activities involved in developing our communication skills is what is important because we were practicing with different activities like group discussions, debates, and also we have jam sessions, just a minute sessions, in which we will be spontaneously given a topic and asked to talk on for a minute. So this way we were able to practice our communication skills more and more, and through which we were able to improve our communication skills.
Okay, Hemant, that's great. And let's proceed to the next question. And tell me what are some requirements to face an interview?
So some the requirements would generally be differ from the company you are attending to or the job role you are getting into, but there are some common requirements for attending an interview, like you should be familiar with what the company is offering you and what the company is. You should know about the company and also the role that you have applied for. So the company would also be posing questions on how much you know about the company. So they also want to know whether you are familiar with their company, and they also want to know why do you want to work with their company. And also the most important things to prepare before going to give your interview would be the most popular question, tell me about yourself. This question will definitely be asked in any interview which you might attend. So it is best to frame a good answer for this question. So collect all the things that you have achieved until now, what you have done, what was your journey throughout your career. So what are your interests? What are you currently doing, and what are your future goals and etc. So considering all this, you should frame a good answer for that question. So there will also be several other questions like why should we hire you? So you should also be able to answer such questions. That all questions comes under the HR round. So there are three different types of interviews: HR, MR, and TR. So HR would be more concentrated on how you approach things or the way you think or how you handle things. MR is also similar to HR, so they both will be held at the same time mostly. TR is where you will showcase your technical skills. You will be asking some technical questions, and the question. So what you put in your resume, you should be able to answer any questions that are posed on that. So you should be in a condition to answer them. So that is what will be happening in the TR round. Those are some points you should remember while attending an interview.
Thank you, Hemant, bro. That's a great lot of tips you shared, and I hope they're helpful for everyone. And let's proceed to the next question. And what is the interesting activity you'd find in the Elcslab?
So I have mentioned this earlier. So we were also given with jam session exercises. So jam is one such thing which will help you improve your communication very well, because we will be given a topic on the spot and we should be able to talk on that topic for a minute or long. So it will improve your spontaneity on if you are given a topic and you suddenly have to speak on something, you will improve the spontaneity. You will be spontaneous to talk about that topic. And also you should be precise about the topic as you are given a limited time to speak. So that so I find jam sessions very interesting in improving communication skills.
Okay, Hemant, as you know, there are so many youngsters out there and they are very much interested in web development, right? And
So,
can you share any tips in web development and how we can tackle a web development interview?
so generally we don't get hired for web developer role as a fresher. We might find freelancing jobs, but as a full-time employee, we won't be get hired as a web developer. But the you should be familiar with how things work on web. You don't have to remember everything, but you should be familiar with everything, like how the web works, how some request is made, how the response will be taken from the server, or how this communication between an API and a server happens, and all which comes in the backend, and also how the user interface works, and how the UI UX design has to be to make it more immersive for the user and all. So these are some main things that you should be able to answer and know well if you are aspiring to be a web developer or trying to get a job as a web developer. So it is all about, not about remembering the things, but understanding how the things work. Because if you if you take an example, you might be working on month stack. So you have applied for a developer job and you have got web development, but it was in C sharp, let's say .NET framework. So you should be able to adapt to that. So remembering things won't help us in adapting in such situations, but understanding things will definitely help us. So if you understand how the things work, you just need to learn the new syntax and all, and you could easily adapt to other technologies also.
Okay, Hemant Kumar, thanks for sharing your tips. And do really open source contributions worth or only for some namesake?
So open source contributions, it completely depends on the individual. So if you are a web developer, it really helps you in improving your skill. Like you can contribute to any real world problem also. Like there might be an application that is running in the real world, and you can also contribute to that, and you can understand how an actual large scale project is structured and all. So it depends on the individual how they look at open source. Some feel open source is very good because they will be able to contribute to others and also keep learning. And some might have the opposite opinion.
Okay, Hemant Kumar, thanks for the tips. And can I, can you share some tips on how to prepare a resume?
Yeah, so that definitely. Resume is one important thing these days because before we even get a chance to get interviewed or get a chance to give our exam in the preliminary round, we are shortlisted based on the resume. So these days, resumes are not manually checked or verified. It is automated. We have a machine which has some algorithm for sorting the resumes. So we must be aware of how that works, and we should be able to make our resume according to that. We should be planning our resume considering all the factors that that algorithm would be considering by shortlisting the resume. And also, the resume should be unique for every role and every company that you apply. You should be changing your resume accordingly. So you should be able to emphasize all the things that you have learned till now, and also the achievements and all that you have achieved till now. So that is it. That is pretty much about the resume. You should also be adding your educational details and all. So that is very common. That is about the resume building.
Okay, Hemant, one last question. And what is the role of verbal tests in campus interviews?
So, as a software engineer or a software developer, we will be working on the software and all the technical stuff. But we should be able to communicate with the client in order to understand the requirements better. we should be able to communicate with the client. So we will be able to get the right idea what the client is giving us, and we can work on that. So communication plays an important role as a software engineer. So that is where this plays a major role.
Thank you, Hemant. Kumar, thank you for sparing your time with me and sharing a lot of tips which can help not only me but many youngsters. Thank you, Hemant, once again.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you for having me.